dawn hadn't fully broken when Samuel Carter heard the sound that didn't belong. Metal screaming against wind, then a heavy thud that shook the soil beneath his boots. He froze in the middle of his cornfield, heart racing, as a small plane skidded to a stop just beyond the fence line, smoke curling into the cold morning air. Samuel was a farmer barely holding on. Drought had taken most of his savings, and the bank letters came more often than the rain. Still, without thinking twice, he dropped his tools and ran. Inside the crumpled cockpit was a woman, unconscious, blood tracing a thin line down her temple. Samuel forced the door open with shaking hands and pulled her free, laying her gently on the grass. His truck was old, the kind that coughed before starting, but it was all he had. He wrapped her in his jacket, lifted her carefully, and drove 30 miles to the nearest hospital. For 2 days, Samuel returned to his farm, then back to the hospital, checking from the hallway because he didn't think he belonged inside the room. When she finally woke, she asked the nurse who had brought her in. Samuel tried to slip away, but she saw him. Her name was Eleanor Wright. Her voice was calm, grateful, and surprisingly warm. She thanked him again and again, squeezing his rough, dirt-stained hands. Samuel shrugged it off, saying anyone would have done the same, though they both knew that wasn't true. As days passed, Eleanor recovered quickly. Visitors arrived, lawyers, assistants, people in press suits who looked out of place in the small-town hospital. Samuel overheard whispers: aviation executive, tech investor, private pilot, millionaire. He stopped visiting after that. Back on the farm, reality pressed in harder than ever. A final notice from the bank waited on his kitchen table. That evening, as he stood in the field where the plane had fallen, headlights appeared on the dirt road. A black SUV rolled to a stop. Eleanor stepped out, steady now, no bandages, dressed simply. She walked toward him, eyes scanning the land, the worn barn, the tired man standing in front of her. "I couldn't leave without seeing this place," she said softly. Samuel nodded, embarrassed. He apologized for not coming back to the hospital. Eleanor shook her head. She told him about the engine failure, the panic, the moment she thought she wouldn't survive. She told him how, when she woke up, the first face she remembered wasn't a doctor's, but his. They stood in silence as the sun dipped low, painting the sky orange. Eleanor asked about the farm, and Samuel told the truth. No drama, just facts. A week later, surveyors arrived, then builders, then machines Samuel had only seen on television. Neighbors whispered again, this time louder. By autumn, the farm looked different. Irrigation restored, debts cleared, land expanded. Eleanor visited often, never with an entourage. She walked the rows with Samuel, listened more than she spoke. One evening, they stood where the crash had happened, now marked by fresh green growth. The wind moved gently through the crops, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. The field was quiet again, but nothing else was the same.